you probably never even heard of. Leader Fan Radio Network.
But you know what?
And KFAN.com. That's KFAN.com. 2 minutes and 6 seconds past the hour of 3 o'clock. That's Central Daylight Time. We welcome you back to another very special, controversial edition of the Afternoon Aardvark on an even steamier, I think, than yesterday, Wednesday afternoon here in the Twin Cities, that we affectionately refer to as Minneapolis and St. Paul. Guardsy produces the show. My name is Dan Barreiro, former Inkstein Wretch, newspaper of the Twin Cities, and we are delighted that you are here for today's ride that could include, is scheduled to include a visit with the man in charge of the basketball operation for your favorite basketball team, the Minnesota Timberwolves, Tim Connelly, at 3:30. In addition, a little bonus Russo today. That is scheduled for 5 o'clock and or thereabouts. And then Kessler is expected in studio. He has hinted, he hasn't confirmed this yet, but he has hinted at the possibility that he might be bringing into studio with him either Mike Lindell or Mike Trudell. Not sure which.
Either one, I think, would be interesting.
How about both together?
That would be good. They could settle the score.
Yeah, wouldn't that be great?
I know Trudell would like it.
Yeah.
To maybe create some distance between himself and Lindell.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out.
We will.
That's about 5:30. He usually comes a little bit early, and hopefully with some pillows. Who's to say? Might get some pillows out of the deal.
Remember when he brought me My Pillow Guy's book as a gift at the Minnesota State Fair?
Oh, that's right. I do remember that now.
And he did this grand production.
He's
and
so wacky, isn't
I
he?
had no reaction. I still have the book.
Isn't he wacky?
Maybe I should read it. If he becomes our next governor, I'm going to have to probably learn a little bit more about him than what I already know.
Not sure you're going to have to read it, but
I'm going to keep it just in case.
That's just me. I mean, I've been wrong before. I might be wrong yet again. I'm here to tell you that I learned a lot earlier today and even last night about a rivalry I didn't even know was a rivalry. And I will submit to you, as we've tried to bring along the bumper-to-bumper loyal listeners on this magical World Cup ride, even if it's not in your wheelhouse, that I think it's another one of those stories that adds another layer that makes it worth our time, I guess, even if you don't necessarily have to love or revere the sport or its history. I've said this several times. I just don't think you have anything to lose in mid-July. Mid-July.
Right.
Mid-July.
All-star game, yes. All-star break.
Correct.
No NFL. Not a ton.
But we're seeing this rivalry play out, by the way, in real time right now. The second half of the second semifinal game, I believe, is about to begin.
Yes.
And it is 0-0 Argentina versus England for the opportunity to advance to the title game on Sunday in New York, New York, to take on La Roja and Spain. This game today, Dateline, Atlanta, Georgia. And I learned that basically the rivalry between these two countries' men's soccer teams goes back 64 years. That's a long time, isn't it? Do the math on that. 2026, 64 years puts us back to what year? I know it's a math test.
Yeah,
I'm not going to do it on
the fly.
2026 so 26 minus 64.
Yeah. 26 minus 64.
Well, that doesn't even make sense. No, it doesn't.
I mean, why do you do this to me right out of the gate?
Yeah. Well, you would call that ancient? I mean, you'd call that...
You're in the 60s, basically.
You'd call that more than recent, correct?
Yeah. Yes, I think 62.
In sports rivalry terms, that's impressive. And that's how far back this thing goes. I love the way Wall Street Journal guy put it. Actually, double byline, Jonathan Clegg and Joshua Robinson. It's a long-running feud that has included decades of chicanery, unconditional hatred, and a 74-day war fought on the high seas. And by the way, I haven't had a chance to watch much of the first half because I had some errands to get to, and I had to get here. But it's the fuses have been short in this thing. I think there was a fight involving several players on the benches between the two teams. Did you watch any of that?
I didn't see it. No, I was at the Lynx game, but when I got caught up, when I got here, and I clicked on it, it said England and Argentina tied in a very tense first half.
You can sense the history here. 5 games, just 5 in sort of World Cup competition. This is only the 5th time in over 150 years that the two countries' teams have met in the World Cup. Just through those 5 games, listen to this. A match so violent that it prompted the introduction of red cards. A goal so controversial it became known as the hand of God. A goal so sublime it became known as the goal of the century. Allegations of vile racism, endless chants about the Falkland Islands, the ejection of soccer icon David Beckham, and an effigy of a player hanging outside a London pub.
Goodness.
I know this is going to sound like sacrilege. Vikings-Packers can't match that. They can't come close to approximating it. I know we think it's the ultimate sports rivalry, at least here. We can't. That doesn't touch it, does it? How could it? Quote from an Argentina midfielder, Leandro Paredes. We know what the game against England means for our country. As I said, 2 nations have shared the pitch 14 times, but only 5 have been in the World Cup. And it goes, like I said, all the way back. If you go back to Wembley Stadium, 1966.
This is a good one right here.
Argentina captain Antonio Ratin was sent off after a string of vicious fouls. He refused to leave the pitch.
Then what?
For 8 minutes before, wait for it, ultimately taking a seat on the red carpet that had been exclusively reserved for Queen Elizabeth II.
There has to be video.
How good is that? How good is that?
Well, she wasn't there, it doesn't sound like.
Well, yeah, but you don't mess with
Maybe
the Queen's
she was back in the
red
Lexus
carpet.
Club, the Wembley Club.
She probably was.
Getting a sandwich.
Talking is fine, or should say tackling is fine. Former England defender George Cohen once said, but it was some of the snidey things, the spitting, and pulling the short hairs on your neck, pulling your ear. They were trying to intimidate us. The England manager at the time, Alf Ramsey, so bitter, told his players to refuse to swap jerseys after the game, calling the Argentine players animals. 20 years later, Argentina hadn't forgotten. They crossed paths at the 1986 World Cup in Mexico. By then, this is the kicker that I don't think Packers-Vikings can match, unless I'm forgetting about the time Minnesota invaded Wisconsin. I don't know. But by then, you had 2 countries. The bad blood was, this was after the 1982 Falklands War. And after Diego Maradona lifted his country to a 2-1 win over 3 Lions in the quarterfinal, he didn't shy away from bringing up the islands known in Argentina as Las Malvinas. Scored 2 goals that day, one with his fist, another by dancing past 5 English defenders. Then came the Beckham arc. Red card in 1998 for kicking out at Argentina's Diego Simón in a game so tense that it had to be decided by a penalty shootout. When England lost, one tabloid led with this headline: 10 brave lions, 1 stupid boy.
Whoa.
That's for Beckham.
Yeah.
Who was even hanged in effigy. David Beckham outside a pub. 4 years later, group stage meeting with Argentina. Single goal is the deciding factor. What's called here a redemptive Beckham penalty. Red card, as we said. That remains, well, that was actually from the previous one. And that remains the most recent confrontation until today in a major tournament. There have been some exhibitions, but nothing quite like this. Cristian Romero, we will give our souls against England. When's the last time you heard any Viking? You ever hear any Viking say, we will give our souls against the Green Bay Packers?
I don't think I've ever heard that.
It's ever been uttered.
No.
We will leave our lives on the pitch. If you're a fan, how do you not love that? How do you not get aroused and motivated by that? By the way, for the record, they tell us, here's the kicker to the story. All of the reminders will be right there in Argentina's Song of the Summer. At every game, they have belted out in Spanish for the Falklands, for Diego, for the last World Cup of Leo. I'm just telling you, man.
Wow.
I feel stupid not knowing more about this rivalry. I really do. It's as good as it gets, and it's still 0-0. Almost 52 minutes into the game. So is it likely there'll be fisticuffs?
Could be.
I mean, there's already been some, apparently. Who's to say? Because the longer we go with a close match, I would assume the tenser it's going to get, correct? With all that history on the line.
England, I think, just had... Yeah, it's England that's in the white, right? They just had a really good chance they didn't get a shot off, but it's kind of a loose scrum in front of the net. And Argentina did a nice job niftily finally getting it out there. I think Kane might have been involved in it. But yeah, this is what you want in a game like this, right?
Absolutely.
You want it to go down to the wire to see.
Yes.
You want to add the next chapter to a storied rivalry like this.
I now consider myself a rising soccer mind, and I agree with the analysis at the half, which was the longer this game goes on, the better Argentina's chances are to win it, because I think England's just a better team. And I think so. It's the old deal. If you're the better team, you want to score earlier. You want to take some control.
Yep.
And the fact that we're sitting here still 0-0 at this point, I think works very much, because Argentina seems to have that Stardust stuff going.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, they do.
Yeah, and they have. And
Starting
they've got
Messi.
probably the best player in the world still at this point. For the record, Argentina invaded the Falkland Islands on April 2, 1982. The British sent a naval task force to retake them, and after 74 days of fighting, British troops won. I remember it. I don't remember the date, but it was June 14, 1982. The war resulted in 255 British and 649 Argentine deaths as well. I mean that's a rivalry, boys and girls. I mean, you can have Packers, Vikings. What's our best NBA rivalry? Wolves, Nuggets?
Probably Nuggets.
Historically.
Yeah.
Baseball, once upon a time, it was Twins, Oakland A's.
Yeah, White Sox.
Back when we were in the same division. The White Sox, those are all nice. They're cute and everything. Lynx against several teams.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of nice. Can't touch this, I don't believe.
Fan and BigDeck.com. I'm going to give you a shot to win bonus bucks. It is our national cash contest. The first keyword of the afternoon is rich. Go to KFAN.com and enter the keyword rich.
Bumper to Bumper with Dan Barreiro on The Fan.
From the 1-800 Ask Gary
During that break, I literally checked my phone to get confirmation that our 3:30 guest will be available, Tim Connelly. And he replies with, how about that goal? And I said, what goal? Look back up, 1-0. England. I missed it. Was it spectacular? Was it something special? Have you seen it yet?
No, I missed it too, and it's funny because Anthony Gordon scored it. I looked up and they were celebrating. I say to you in the talkback, did you see the goal? But I could tell you were locked in on your phone at the same time. So I'm in the same boat as you. Argentina then had a nice
opportunity.
Counter. They had an opportunity, but it was a good play by a defensive player for England. So they almost evened it up right out of the gate. But no, I have not even seen the replay because they got back to play so fast. I didn't even get to see it.
I am surprised. Oh, no, let me get this one first. Minnesota needs to start a sports rivalry with a Virginia team after we captured the 28th Virginia battle flag during the Civil War. And for decades, our governors have refused to return it since we won it.
Is that true? I'd never heard that.
Well, here's part two from the same texter. This is 763 guy. Quote, it sounds like he's quoting here. In response to the 2000 resolution by Virginia, Minnesota Governor Jesse Ventura stated, why? I mean, we won. We took it. That makes it our heritage. I'm not familiar with that one. That's pretty juicy.
I'm not. I will say, not the best strategy, I don't think, if you're Virginia, to make the plea for it when Jesse was our governor.
Yes, that's true, too.
Like, Walls might give it back.
Yeah, you're right.
You want it? Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
bygones be bygones. Mark Dayton, he may have. Jesse, there's no way.
That's true.
One of the alpha males? No, he's going to keep it.
On the Falklands and the Brits, basically removing the Argentinians after their invasion of the Falklands, Tom from Savage writes, 74 days. What took them so long? We took the Strait of Hormuz in a week.
Wow. Hang on.
Very well played. Out West 320 guy. Sure, we will leave our souls on the pitch, but flop around like fish if anyone so much as touches us. Another flopping text. We've had a few of those. I have no doubt, right, 612 guy, that Joe Cap uttered those words when playing. We will leave, and that's the Argentinian player, we will leave our souls on the pitch. If you're just joining the program as we try to give some depth and detail to literally one of the greatest sports rivalries ever that most of us probably didn't know that much about.
No, I knew nothing about it until today.
And I read a little bit last night, too.
I think Adam Thielen, for me, was the closest because he's one of us.
Yeah, of course.
Before, obviously, he moved on, he talked about the Vikings-Packer rivalry from the Minnesota side as a Minnesotan.
Yes.
Where it was literally you go to school amongst Packer fans when you live here. It's like that. This game is important for the kids going to school the next day. Right. You want to be able to wear your jersey. Yes. For him, it was Moss or Carter. For kids now, it was Thielen or JJ. You got to be able to wear your jersey. It's a big deal. That spoke to me as one of us.
Sure.
Because I lived that. I understood that. He'd never said we need to leave our soul on the People's Stadium soil, but that was talking about our soul a little bit, that we got to go to school, and the last thing you want to do is be heckled by the Brett Blakemore in your class that the Packers beat the Vikings.
Yeah, you're right about that. Only rivalry more intense than England and Argentina is Guardsy and Indianapolis. Although I don't think you started a war over it yet, have you?
Not yet, and I think it's also one-sided because I don't think Indy's thinking much about me right now. I don't think they know it's a rivalry yet.
It does seem fairly one-sided.
Yeah.
That could change.
It could.
Dan, I agree. The game is so much better with Ian Dark, British voice guy, the bloke, than the announcers Fox is using again today. Bummer. Yeah, I'm not saying these guys aren't professional. But that's the guy for me, Ian Dark. I don't know that I knew anything about him until this tournament. I just think he's marvelous. He's actually, we've said this forever. You could say it shouldn't matter, the announcer on TV, but unless you're somebody who turns the TV down, right? It does. It does have an impact on how you view an event.
Yeah.
Depending on the approach that's taken by the play-by-play person. It can, certainly. And even the color guy. Sometimes to the same degree, sometimes even more. What else do we have here? Oh, in 2013, 150 years after the Battle of Gettysburg, the governor of Virginia requested to borrow the flag. Minnesota Governor Mark Dayton declined. You doubted Dayton.
I did. I doubted Dayton.
You assumed.
I did.
So he could be a tough guy.
That's true.
He could be feisty.
Yeah, that's true.
Randy from Richmond, Virginia, originally from St. Cloud. I now live in Virginia, and I never heard of that. LOL. Well, do some checking on it, because now it does sound almost vaguely familiar. I'm going to try to get out of here early. Here's going to be our challenge. I learned this today. I did not know this. We might well have a very distracted Tim Connelly today. He has acknowledged he is a massive World Cup lover and rube.
He's a football fan.
So he's sitting there watching this tense engagement between these two countries who don't like one another at all. So we'll try to keep him on track. Maybe we will talk a little bit of World Cup with him, but I certainly want to talk about, it's the first chance we'll have had to talk about the LaMelo Ball move, and really the first chance we've had to talk to him since we traded away your guy to, where did we end up trading him to?
Julius Randle
to Brooklyn.
Yep.
By the way, he's playing good soldier right now.
He is.
You know why? Because he'll be more of a, he'll get the ball anytime he wants now.
It's not a bad spot for him.
Yeah, I mean, and he'll elevate. He'll bring the basement. He'll bring the floor up on him.
He will.
Just a matter of how far it goes from there. So let's get a quick pause in and prepare to chat hoops and World Cup with Tim Connelly next.
You're listening to Barreiro on the...
I have no idea, and I'm a little concerned that I might not get, or we might not get the full attention from our next guest, the president of basketball operations for the Minnesota Timberwolves, Tim Connelly, because I learned not that long ago he is a hardcore World Cup rube. So I think we're going to try to talk a little World Cup and still squeeze in a question or two about his favorite basketball team. Tim joins us via the what's the sponsor for
Connecticut Water Systems Hotline.
I apologize for that. I, too, am so distracted, Tim Connelly, by this second semifinal game. Bad blood. I mean, there's been wars between these two countries, and it sounds like you're utterly captivated by it.
Yeah, the World Cup's awesome. We're playing a Summer League game now as well, so I'm very happy with all the good action on the TV right now.
Yeah, I can imagine. So trace your World Cup interest. Is this long-standing? Did you have an epiphany moment where it something clicked and you said, this is a pretty remarkable event? What's the history for you in the World Cup?
Yeah, I didn't grow up really a huge fan of soccer, but one of my brothers coached in England, and he got into international soccer. And then at a previous stop, I spent a lot of time with Arsenal. So through spending time with Arsenal, I kind of got more, knowledgeable is a strong term, not knowledgeable, but
right.
More into it. And then the World Cup, the European Championships, it's all so great. So, and especially being on home soil,
yes.
It's just been awesome to watch.
Yeah, I agree totally. And I used to be one of those guys who did all the snarky, cheap shots about soccer. Every game's 1-0, the whole bit. When I was back in my ink stain Wretch days when I was writing, I just think I've kind of evolved. It's almost like I got that out of my system. And then as years go by, I can't tell you that I pay that close attention to soccer outside this event. But this event just gets to me. And the storylines have been great. All the big knockers have been dominant. They've been great. For people who maybe don't love the game or know the game, it's more accessible because the big names have been as good as they've been. We lost a little something, obviously, when the USA was eliminated after a very good start, too. But it's to me, it's just the best of everything. And then you consider the history, which I only learned earlier today, between England and Argentina, and it's pretty mythic stuff.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, off the pitch, they've got a lot going on in their past.
Yeah.
And, Argentina has so many guys playing the EPL. When you get to this level, the last four teams, all these guys are playing either the EPL or the top levels in Spain or Turkey. So it's full of storylines, and it's really fun to watch. Really fun to watch.
So let's try to get to some Wolves stuff too, because we've not talked since your big move. And
I need a hydration break real quick.
Well, you might just try to pretend that you kind of are listening to the question, even as you watch Argentina try to tie this thing up. England is up 1-0, approaching the 75-minute mark. Here's my philosophical trade question. The Tim Connelly who started in this business or was starting to get his chops and, emerging as an ascending guy with a chance to run some teams, did he have the same trade philosophy that you seemingly have now, which is, again, big swings, obviously chance for big success, but big swings also means there's an element of, that it could go the wrong way for you. Is that something you developed, or is it something you think was always in you for whatever reason?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think you're just trying to get better, and how you get better it's either trades, free agency, or draft, and you only control part of it. Like, you can't make a trade without a willing partner. So I don't think it's part of some specific design or plan. It's most recently we had a chance to add what we think is an elite point guard who fits our timeline, and but I don't never think it was a specific philosophy. Just try to get better and keep flipping cards until hopefully you can kind of be the last team standing.
I think that's one of the sneaky parts of this trade that nationally perhaps hasn't been appreciated. You got a guy on the same age line, right, with several of the players that you're building this thing around, which tells me what I try to tell the audience was you can love it, you can be afraid of it. There's always risk involved in this kind of deal, but that clearly you're looking at it not as, all right, we're going to take one big swing for the upcoming season, and that's it. That the idea here is if this thing goes, you have a chance to take several swings if you can continue to add talent, develop talent, etc. Because, again, the ages of so many of your main guys are so similar outside, obviously, of Rudy.
Yeah, I think pairing LaMelo up with Anthony, we hope it's a really good pairing. We think they have complementary skill sets. Certainly, both same age, same draft class. Both have seen a lot of basketball for still being relatively young, only 24 years old. Jaden, Derringer, Shannon, Io. We like our young core, and we think we have a chance for these young guys to continue to get more and more reps and hopefully win more and more games.
Let's stick with the Anthony piece of this thing, because to me, what I keep hearing is, all right, we know how Anthony has emerged as a top line player, but can he continue to improve if he has to continue to shoulder the load of handling the ball as much as he has basically once the decision was made to not start Mike any longer? How big a piece of it is that taking some of that heat away from him, allowing him to be what you could argue he really is, right, which is an elite scorer and a really good defender when he's in the mood to do that? How big a piece of this move was related to that specifically?
I think every move we make is with kind of Ant-centric. It's how it can help him, how it can protect him, how Ant can help whatever acquisition we might make, and then how does he feel about it? He's got as big a voice as anybody in the building, and LaMelo's a guy that he's long talked about, thinking it'd be a great addition. We've put Ant in all these different positions all over the court. I think a lot of it's been beneficial. At times it's been too much of a load, specific to playmaking. In a position that there's just very few guys who are real playmakers, real point guards, guys that make others better. We think we got one of the best ones in the league at doing that.
And when we talk about LaMelo, you, I think, described him, as a pretty pure point guard. He's obviously a point guard who can also score. Some of the questions that have come up have been, okay, well, he has been hurt a lot in his career, less so this last season. I think he averaged under 30 minutes a game, which has led some people to say, well, did they manage him in the right way? And does that mean he can't handle more minutes, or that's what you have to do? When you're calculating your interest in this deal, because obviously you guys have had interest in LaMelo for a while, where do you put that stuff in? How do you finesse that, or how do you convince yourself that that's not a red flag? Or even that Charlotte, coming off really their best season in a while, are willing to move on him at this particular point after that season?
Yeah, I can't get in anyone else's shoes. We traded a heck of a player, two really, really good players, and two great guys, in Julius and Nas, and there's no black mark there. Those guys are awesome, and they'll be missed. So I think good players get traded all the time. Yeah. I'm not really sure of what the other team's rationale is. The injuries certainly is something that we're aware of. We're hopeful and confident that the worst is behind him. He's had a bunch of various injuries. It's not like there's a lingering knee issue or anything chronic. We have a lot of faith in our medical staff. We're a play team. We're a team that, we want our guys to play. And, they're paid for 82. We want them to play as close to 82 as possible. Obviously, if healthy, we'll never put guys in harm's way. But we think, every conversation we had about him, whether it's a coach, whether it's a teammate, Kurt, or former, is how much he loves to play and how much positive energy he brings to the building each and every day. So, we're pretty optimistic that we're getting him at the right time. And we've probably seen a little more serious basketball than people would have guessed from afar. The first couple of years we saw the play-in. Yeah. The team struggled. Then last year, the second half of the season, they might have been the best team in the East. The number one offense, top 5 ranked defense. So I think he's got a lot of innings, and we're hopeful that we'll be a beneficiary of all those minutes he's seen thus far.
When you look at him on tape, or when you're scouting him, when I say scouting, obviously you see him all the time, but when we hear the term vision all the time, what is it at his best that you see from him that impresses you?
Oh, he's got such natural instincts as a playmaker. He's a step ahead, and there's only a handful of guys in our league that see the game like he sees the game. He had this really unique upbringing where he was playing with guys 5, 6, 7 years older when he was 11, 12, 13. So he has a really funky game. But the game, I think, was developed prior to his growth spurt. So some of the stuff that looks, a little showboaty or atypical, it's kind of how he had to develop when he was growing up playing with his older brothers. And then his path's been really unique. Go to Lithuania, go to Australia. But I think the combination, 3 things. He's huge. He's 6'6". Yep. He's a great volume 3-point shooter. For a guy who gets it up as much as he does, he's one of the best guys in the league. And he's always a step ahead as a playmaker. So he's going to make the right plays. Excellent rebounder. We think there's a component defensively that he really hasn't tapped into yet. We've really challenged him about, if you're going to play between Jaden and Rudy and Ant, you got to guard. And I think he will. But just he has a love for the game. He loves to play. When you have as much skill level as he has, it's evident that you love it.
One more Anthony question. There is an art, I think, to playing off the ball, right? It's you can look at Anthony logically and say, well, this is going to liberate him in so many ways. But it is different. Now, I'm not saying Anthony's never going to have the ball in his hands, but if it's not going to be in his hands as much as he's accustomed to, there's an art to what? Playing off screens, getting open, etc. Are you confident that he's ready to do that, or do you think he already has that in him? I mean, how much conversation do you have with him, Finchie has with him in that regard? Because this does strike me as a very different role, one that he should excel in, but that he has to, I think, get to that place where he's comfortable playing off the ball a little bit more.
Yeah, I think it's something that he's talked about and something he really wanted to accomplish. But as much as LaMelo's a pure point guard, he's a great catch and shoot guy. He's played last year with Con and last year with Brandon Miller. So it's not John Stockton going to have the ball for 16 seconds of possession. We're going to with pick and roll. He's a guy that can play on off. But I think what's really unique is probably the first time in his career, Anthony's not going to get better shots, but hopefully some pretty easy shots.
Yes.
There's a lot of good playmakers in the league. A lot of them create easy shots for their teammates, and we think we have one of the best in the world in doing so.
The moodiness theme. Your head coach has talked about this a lot. I've talked about it a lot on the air. It's one that's been written about a great deal. The notion that as good as your team could be at times, that it was too moody, or that maybe had some impact on some of the ups and downs. So for you, how much does that factor? I mean, because, coaches and presidents of basketball operations can have agreements and some disagreements on whether something is as big a deal. But when you started making the moves you did, as in moving on Randall, trying to see if this is the time to get a guy at point guard who you clearly coveted for a while, how conscious of that issue were you? How important do you think that was in informing the direction you decided to take this thing?
Well, I don't think it was a motivating factor. It's something that we talked about the last couple of years. I mean, you watch this more than anybody. I think we've had a great 3-year run. I think we're one of only 2 teams that won a playoff series last 3 consecutive years. Oh, wow, Argentina just scored.
Yes, Argentina just tied.
Wow.
85th minute.
Wow.
That's a
crazy goal. Yeah. But I think we have title aspirations, and we don't have to be a perfect team. There's going to be, as we've seen the last 7 or 8 years, a different team every year. None of them are perfect. It's a lot of it's going to come down to health and matchups, clearly. But the things that the controllables, our approach to the referees, our ability to be resilient and not allow our emotions to get the best of us is something that we want to hold ourselves to a higher standard. So I don't think it's specific to this trade. I think it's kind of a building-wide mandate that we have to be better.
You talked some at the presser about LeBron, and I'm assuming you can't give us any announcements today that he's coming, although you're certainly welcome to if you think it's headed that way.
I wish I had a talk on it right now. It'd be fantastic.
That's true. So, but I want to get your reaction to, we have Sam Mitchell on all the time, the former Timberwolf. You know Sam, I'm sure. Terrific, huge Wolves guy, obviously, but very opinionated. And his view has been he didn't see the fit here, not because you don't need front court help, but because he thinks LeBron doesn't want to go to a place where there are two players who have had the ball a lot or are used to having the ball. That would be something where all things being equal, he'd want to stay away from. What would your answer to Sam be to that particular concern that he has?
Yeah, I mean, I think relative to a basketball-specific fit, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a better fit. We have both LaMelo and Anthony are ball dominant, but not ball hogs. I mean, they played various roles. I think, LeBron knows firsthand what Anthony offers, but being his teammate, winning the Golden Pairs. Mm-hmm. And I think that if the teams that are mentioned are the 5 teams, I think all those teams have guys that are used to having the ball. He's targeted teams he thinks have a chance to win the championship. So those pre-existing rosters are chock full of guys that are high usage guys.
Last item, because I know you want to get back to the game. You got other things to do here away from home. Finchie had an interesting quote where he said, I don't necessarily see this, people are assuming that Jaden is going to be the starter at the 4. And so it kind of furrowed my eyebrows, and also John Krasinski and others, because it's like, well, if not him, what's logical? So now, because we believe in conspiracies, we're going, well, maybe there's another player out there that you guys are close to eyeing, even if the LeBron thing doesn't work out, that might change everything. So can you speak to that? What? Because it doesn't seem like it's very logical that anybody would be the 4, but Jaden at this point, given what the absences you have in the front court.
Yeah, I'll leave that up to Finchie. I think we have some internal options that maybe would be a little left fieldish for some, but we're confident in. It's a weird position because 10, 15 years ago, every team had clear power forwards, and it's kind of morphed into centers than just forwards. And we had 2 great ones in Julius and Nas. You look around Zion and Montero and Orlando, but not every team has traditional power forwards. And we saw San Antonio. They probably didn't have a natural power forward, except for Ned Wembanyama, obviously. But look, we know it's when we traded 2 really, really good players, we knew it was going to be something we had to figure out. And I think we'll figure it out. But full faith in Finchie and his staff, whether we add another face or 2 or whether we make do what we have presently, we think we'll figure that position out.
You're not somebody who obviously, I think, relishes limelight based on everything I've seen and heard of you. But so maybe I'll know the answer to this question, but you make the deal, and maybe nationally, a lot of people didn't get it. They're like, what are the Wolves doing? How could they be better today than they were before? I think as time goes on, maybe people get used to it and they start looking at it differently. But are you aware of any of that? I mean, I sense you don't care. You can't make your decisions on the basis of doing a referendum on what people think. But how aware, as the thing's playing out, are you of the national reaction, which was, I don't think as positive as it's been locally?
I'm blissfully unaware. I mean, I think I mentioned you a bunch.
Yeah.
I promise you I don't have any social media. I can't.
So smart.
I joke with my friends, my buddies who are single will send me, hey, here's this girl I'm dating on Instagram. I said, I can't open it. Can you just screenshot pictures? I can share my thoughts. So unless it's on Hoop Site, I don't see it. I think societally, and then certainly sports is a microcosm of that. I think it's hard to find anybody happy right now.
Yeah, that's true.
Our goal and my goal is to either win a ton of games or get fired trying. And I think we took a big swing. Julius Randle's an excellent player. Nas is fantastic. He's gonna have a career year in Charlotte, and he's exactly what we're all about. So we didn't do it lightheartedly, but we think when you have a chance to look up and you're 1, 2, 3 at 25, 24, 24 is LaMelo, Anthony, Jay McDaniels. We're gonna have a puncher's chance against anybody in the world, and not just next year, but for the next 4 or 5 years.
Would you promise me you don't have any burner accounts on X that we just don't know about, but you're very good about?
Promise
okay.
you can
because there's a bunch of those out there.
An old school Howard Stern lie detector test.
Even that. I'll let you get back to the soccer, man. This is good stuff. We appreciate the time. Good.
Who's going to pull it out? You think?
Well, I picked off the post there.
Wow, that would have been something.
That would have been Argentina up 2-1.
You guys are ahead of me.
A little ahead of you, yeah. I picked England before the game. Oh, there it is. Argentina just took the lead.
We should have spoiler alerted them.
Sorry about that. Yeah, be ready. There's a goal. There's an Argentina goal coming.
Messi, wow.
How good is this? This is really, really good stuff.
Oh, my gosh.
I'll let you get back to it. Have a good have fun.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it, guys.
We'll talk soon. Thank you. Appreciate it. Tim Connelly runs the basketball operation for the Minnesota Timberwolves. In fact, I think his title is President of Basketball Operations. We got time. Do we want to do a live listen-in right now, Guardsy? Guardsy's wrapping up the call with Tim. Just the aftermath? Do you want to do it? Let's go live to World Cup. Argentina just goes up 2-1 on England.
Argentina kicking down the English wall, trying their best to hold on. Lionel Messi has time and space. Chet Spencer's a little banged up. Think he always goes left, think again. To the right! It delivers a ball on a platter for Lautaro Martinez off the bench. But it's Messi magic again. And the Argentines.
You doubted Messi.
Find a way, down a goal. Have punched back not once.
Do you think he should pretend to have an accent for this part?
It would help.
Could they send him that note?
It would help.
Yeah, Messi magic again.
In Atlanta. What a goal.
All right, here's what we're going to do. Pot it down for just a minute. We're just going to, there's about, 7 minutes or so left in extra time.
We think.
Argentina just goes ahead. They were down 1-0 about a second ago. Now they're up 2-1. And we're just going to go ahead and run it out the rest of the way into the start of the 4 o'clock hour, just in case we've got some people out there who might be interested.
The power, the will, the force of a team like Argentina. And that man right there. We said it, 7 minutes to go, he's down. Last World Cup game, think again. Well, let's see what England have left. This game's still got time. Couldn't possibly, could they?
Yellow card to Rodrigo de Paul. I think just as a requirement of any big Argentina game.
Wow. What a game.
Goals.
What a semifinal.
6 minutes, 24 seconds apart, and England have probably about 6 minutes and 24 seconds left to score one in response and force extra time. Now they're the desperate team. Konsa brings it down. Kane trying to get under control. It's blocked out by Julian Alvarez for an England throw.
Now consider all the big bodies you have on the field for England. If they get a long throw, you've got Dan Burn at the near post that wants this one. Great chaos back.
Konsa gets it in deep. Kane takes a bump. It's headed away. Stones resets it wide. Konsa just trying to keep it in on Nico Gonzalez. Another England throw. We should go past the minimum 9 minutes. He can't believe it, even though he's seen it over and over again. Last-ditch options off the bench in the wings for England for whatever minutes are left. Konsa again. Deep throw. Stones couldn't get up for it. Held in by Rogers, man down for Argentina. Konsa sends it in. It was Gonzalez who was down. He's back up to head it away. Down for another throw, and do England make the changes now? Because certainly with Rashford, but also Ivan Toney, who Thomas Tuchel described as part of his special ops team for moments just like this, the two set to come on. Chase is the first withdrawn. Spence is the other.
Short. Yeah, they're going to play short, get a 2v1.
Rogers back for Konsa. Konsa sends it in. Gonzalez sends it out. It's guesswork for how many minutes precisely are going to be left because we lost a bit for the celebrations in there.
Fingers and toes crossed from the English. They're getting opportunities wide, just not good service. You want somebody other than Konsa in that position. You got to get one of your wingers out there.
Pickford will send it long. Dan Burn furthest up there. Gets a flick to it. Bouncing ball cleared away. Christian Romero. Rogers, good touch to hold it in. Keep it away from Messi. Rogers hooks it in from deep. That's sent away again by Romero. Rashford will sprint to keep it in play. Pickford now. He'll just launch this forward into the chaos. Burn again. Knocked sideways. Hooked away. Julian Alvarez.
It's not a bad option to have up there. 6'7", trying to play it off the second ball off Dan Burn.
Rogers under pressure. He's getting his shirt pulled. He gets the pass away. Ismail Elfaz says just play on. 2 minutes and a minimum. Here to go in Atlanta. Spot on the World Cup final at stake. Again deep from Pickford. And Burn got bumped off it there. Nico Gonzalez threw a body in. Emiliano Martinez is down after taking the catch. And he's getting the 5-second count from Ismail Elfaz. He's got to get up and get rid of it. Pickford again, a desperate heave, but no one in a white shirt near it. DePaul first to the loose ball, trying to bounce it off an England player for a throw, can't do so. Harry Kane, he'll go long. Rogers and Chase, it's too far. "60 seconds at a minimum to play."
Last gasp for the Brits.
Good header, one in there by Anderson. A second time as well to knock it forward. Flying through was Otamendi. Anderson trying to hook it wide for Rashford. Rashford, can he control with a man on his back? Now can he turn on Montiel to the byline? Gets the cross in and it's stabbed away. That was Romero once again. And now Lionel Messi working on Nico O'Reilly. Julian Alvarez holds it up. Messi comes to get it. He takes the bump. That's a foul. That's a free kick for Argentina. They're not there yet, but they're close. And another coming together.
Skirmish.
Sticks and gloves all over the pitch. I think Messi's milking that one.
I agree.
Games played and goals scored. Lionel Messi.
I thought the goalkeeper.
But he's Messi. You make that kind of assist, that kind of a cross. I mean, come on. To set up the game-winning goal, match-winning goal. Here we go. Got to be the final seconds, right? Unless they add extra time.
He had 2 on the day.
Yeah, I had the one to Fernandez on the strike. The right foot one is just a thing of beauty. We talk so much about his left. His right is beautiful as well. And it set the stage for Lautaro off the bench.
We keep saying count them out at your peril. Did they look great against Cape Verde? Did they look great against Egypt? Did they look great against Switzerland? Doesn't matter. Final seconds for England. Final chance for their dreams. And it's taken away by Nico Gonzalez. And Messi just going to run to daylight. Messi goes down. That's not a foul. England one last chance. Long it goes. Too long perhaps. Burn and Chase. Emiliano Martinez Gets rid of it deep. Lautaro Martinez trying to chase in behind the winning goal scorer. Anderson had to be alert.
Check of the watch.
Still we play.
Trying to wave it.
One last chance. Anderson sends it long.
Comes.
Burn and chase. It's headed away. First man there, Enzo Fernandez.
Had a shot there.
All eyes on American Ismail Elfath. He looks at his watch again. England have a throw-in. Do they have the time?
This could be
Do
controversial.
they have one more moment? And it comes to Burn. Forced backwards, knocked away. Anderson last man back now, battling with Messi for that ball in the air. Cleared back to Jordan Pickford. Still we play. Argentina's bench is furious. Last chance for England. Here we go. Pickford into the ball.
Oh, man.
Look at
Can't get it cleanly. It's knocked free. The whistle goes. It's a hand.
And that's when they whistled
it? Free kick for Argentina.
free kick. Oh, for Argentina. Okay. Yeah, we're approaching 102 minutes now. So they did add some extra time.
We've seen it all before from Argentina, and yet they still managed to surprise us. He scored the winning goal in the Copa America final 2 years ago. Lautaro Martinez. And they're hoping that once this is in play, it'll count as a game-winning goal in the semifinal. Indeed it is. Argentina do it again. And they set it A with Spain Sunday in New Jersey in the World Cup final.
It's in the books. Spain, Argentina, 2 o'clock Central Time kick. My paternal grandfather, Daniel, he can't lose. Born in Argentina, whole family came from España. It's as good as it gets, and that is going to be a lot of fun. Leave it to our audience to find a way to link a Vikings cheap shot into this Argentinian comeback. Haven't the purple played in England enough in England for the Brits to know that the prevent defense is a loser's game? How good is that? Never underestimate the creativity of our audience to find a way for linkage. So England up 1-0, what, 84 minutes in?
Yeah.
Argentina ties it, and then it felt like in a blink of an eye, after a great setup by Messi, they get the game winner, 2-1. And so we talked about it. They're the team that's been sprinkled with the stardust, if you're a big Destiny cliche guy, through this run. And I certainly felt, okay, the longer this game goes, and it's close, the more dangerous Argentina for that reason will be. Now, in fairness to England, they did take the lead. Not an insurmountable lead, obviously, at 1-0. There were some other, I thought there were 2 or 3 other outstanding Argentina chances. One ball off the post.
Yes, right before the goal.
So the last, 10, 15 minutes, they dominated to that extent. Don't you think? Argentina, absolutely, they won it. They didn't, I don't think they necessarily that it was England lost it, although I guess you can go with the prevent defense thing. But I thought Argentina went out and stole the damn thing very successfully. And now another Vikings fan. Vikings are undefeated in London. That would be a Twitter list who might have been missing the larger point.
Bumper to Bumper with Dan Barreiro on The Fan.
From the 1-800-ASK-GARY Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by